Number 2, we've talked about Levshunov. We talked about Demidov. Who else do you think is worthy of the 2 pick in this draft?
I think that you could certainly make a case for Anton Silayev. The fact that he played big minutes in the KHL this year, the fact that he's a 6'7" defenseman with smooth skating ability and a physical bite to his game is a pretty good thing. I mean, the thing is, yes, he's a left shot defenseman. You have a lot of left shot defensemen in this group. I think there's still a level of risk with him as well. He produced at a high level early on in the season, and then his production tapered off as the year progressed in the KHL. And so, I'm still wondering exactly how much offense there ultimately will be in his game and in what he has done for this year. But I mean, you look at the skating ability, the size. I think he has good hockey sense. I think he's got a maturity to his game. He's a really fascinating player. And so even though you say, well, we have, Vlasic, we have Korchinski, we have Del Mastro and Phillips and Kaiser and the rest who are all left shot defensemen. If you think that Anton Silayev is better than every single one of those guys, that's an easy pick at number 2. And then you kind of let the chips fall where they may. But I still think that the right shot defenseman is the more glaring need for them. Beyond that, I think that you could make a case for Caden Lindstrom, but that's another guy where there is a ton of risk involved because he spent most of this year injured. There's a back injury as well. And even though he's young, back injuries scare the heck out of me, and they scare the heck out of teams that are picking in the top, couple of picks, because that, as I mentioned, the Blackhawks have to get that one right. And so if I don't think that you're willing to necessarily take on the risk that comes with a Lindstrom just because he's a 6'4" physical center. You would have to be pretty comfortable based on his medicals on if he would be the guy. So it's not out of the question to have a guy like him in that mix. And I think he fits the size need. He fits the, he could be another center for you. If you think maybe you could move one of the other guys, like, I think Frank Nazar, he could be a center, could move to the wing. I don't think if you're the Chicago Blackhawks, you want 3 centers that are 5'11", essentially. It doesn't seem like most teams are built that way. So, that's the other kind of question that you can ask. But I think that, to me, I think Levshunov was number 2 on my board at the midterm. I haven't made my final rankings yet. He's obviously a very strong candidate and probably more likely to be number 2 than not on my list as well. And so, I think that between him and Demidov will move up a little bit as the concerns kind of have faded a little bit more as I've watched more video on him. I just think that that this team is, or that, the Blackhawks have a pretty small amount of players to consider. But I think the guys that I just mentioned are probably where that list begins and ends.
We all silly like the mayor.